Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-woo!
Sorry, had to do it. Haven't done that in a while. Had to laugh today. It was just, I think it's time that we laugh a little bit more. There hasn't been much to really celebrate for quite some time, but welcome to your Wednesday afternoon therapy. I'm going to be your host today, Andrew Moon, Orange Nomad, coming to you live right here in the Orange Nomad studios, right here in Columbus, Ohio. Welcome back, Eric Steffi, to the show. Haven't seen you in a while. Another repeat guest. I love when people come back, tune into the show, contribute, share, all that good fun stuff. And that's what we're all about, is building community. Building our do what is necessary community. And I'm super excited to have you again this week. So those of you tuning in, let me know that you can hear me okay in the comments. Give me a thumbs up, or just tell me in the comments that you can hear me okay. We'll get all that technical stuff out of the way and have some fun. We're going to have some fun today. So thank you so much again. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you for watching. Those of you who are here live on the broadcast, again, welcome. We're going to have, like I said, we're going to have fun today. So welcome back, Robert, to the show. Not sure why that came in as a question mark. Love technology when it works. So thank you so much for tuning in, Robert. I know it's UK and you probably have a drink in your hand, if I'm not mistaken. You're probably just sitting back, relaxing, and chilling over in the UK. So thank you so much for representing the UK again. My strong UK contingent is very powerful. So I love our broadcast. So Scotty, this looks like your LinkedIn account information's not coming in. Scotty Millar also from the UK. As you guys can see, we've got a pretty good contingent of UK folks that tune into the show. So I'm excited about this topic this week because this actually came out of a coaching call that I did this past week and with a young entrepreneur. And yeah, it's going to be a fun subject this week. So love that emoji tech stuff. So thank you, Robert. I love it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in again. But yeah, it looks like we've got the technical stuff out of the way. So if you've never watched this show before, this is the Do What Is Necessary live stream. This has been a labor of love for me coming up on a year. It'll be a year on April Fool's Day this year. And this broadcast was started out of need, and it goes back to 2008 with the recession. I was running a company, and I remember how lonely that felt as an entrepreneur, and the need that I had to branch out to commiserate with other entrepreneurs and to help each other. And I knew that was going to be needed, and this has been therapy for me doing this show every week. Now, contrary to what you might believe, this is the Do What Is Necessary live stream is not about hustle, grind, all that hustle mania culture that has been regurgitated for too many years. This live stream is about doing what is absolutely necessary for you. Doing what's necessary for your business, doing what's necessary for your personal life, doing what is absolutely necessary for you. And this show is dedicated to challenging all of the things that we've accepted as being normal and the ways of doing business, the ways that we live our life, and really challenging us to think about the things that we're doing, think about the decisions that we make, and to realize what is absolutely necessary for you. Because that's different. It's different for me. It's different from the next person. It's different from all of our viewers. And that's really what this show is 100% dedicated to doing. So again, if you're watching this on the replay, let us know where you're tuning in from. If you're just joining the broadcast, put that in the comments too. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I always like to see what new countries that we can reach with this week's broadcast. So let's buckle our chin straps and let's talk about this week's topic. And this week's topic, I had a couple people reach out, to me that kind of challenged me on this notion of why you can't learn from millionaires. Now, don't get me wrong. We have people in our life. We have business leaders out there that we admire, that we draw inspiration from, especially as entrepreneurs. Because let's face it, we don't know everything. And the minute you think you know everything, that's the minute to look in the mirror again. But when we have people like, Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, those business leaders, when they approach life a little bit different than the rest of us, and when they give advice and they tell us, the 5 things that billionaires do before 4 a.m. and why Elon Musk gets up at 4, whatever it is. But that's not real life for most of us. I don't know about you, but I'm sleeping at 4 a.m. and I have, really don't, to be honest with you, I really don't care what Elon Musk is doing at 4 a.m. And that's the danger. And that's the danger that I want to talk about today, because I fell into it as an entrepreneur for a long time. And I bought into that, trying to be like millionaires, trying to be like the gazillionaires. And I was young in the tech industry back in the 90s, and this is really where that theory of endless spending and get rich quick schemes have always been out there. And how many of you are actually tired of the get rich quick stuff that's out there? Please put that in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. But I think the stupid money that we saw back in the .com era, where people with an idea, with no proof of concept, no proof of profit, were given blank checks by venture capital funds for $20, $30, $40 million. And I was working up in New England at the time, and I saw it. I actually, you go to those offices and the secretary's driving a Porsche. And it really makes you question, you get bought into that. And as a young entrepreneur, I bought into that system. I bought into that desire, that need, that's the lifestyle that you want to live. And now we see, fast forward all the way to 2020, those get rich quick schemes, the easy button to make cash, they're everywhere. People say, follow my system and I'm going to help you get to 6, 7, 8 figures in 30 days. And there is no easy button for being successful. And there is no magic pill that you can take to go from 0 to 7 figures. And I think that's really the danger that I bought into, especially with my last tech company, because I still see it in people that we coach. And this young entrepreneur that I was talking with last week, that's what he was obsessed about, is how do I need to get to $1 million in revenue. And, I sat down and talked to him, and you analyze why, and it's because of that constant fuel of media. And social media has exacerbated that. Social media wasn't around in, 1999. But to think about that, everybody's, pitching their system as the way to go to 7 figures. And I see that. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with trying to hit $1 million and having a revenue goal and having business goals. But I think that's the danger that we have, is that everything becomes about hitting that mark. And if you talk to anybody who's been in business, I've talked to MSPs who've hit that $1 million in revenue, thinking that something magical is going to happen when you hit that ceiling, when you blast through that ceiling. And they quickly realize that there's nothing magical that really happens when you hit that $1 million threshold. That you're working like crazy, and you're actually creating more stress for yourself. And when I examine it, you look at MSPs that are currently, and those who have sold their MSPs, the profitability to $1 million is not the same as if somebody's at $500,000. So you're creating all of that extra work, and that's the realization that I came to as an MSP, that trying to reach that arbitrary number and hanging out with people this is all their mantra is about, is trying to get paid. And I remember sitting in a business conference, where I went regularly to business conferences as a tech company. And that's what was constantly presented before us, was these millionaires, these people that, okay, duplicate what they're doing or duplicate what they've done, and you can be just like them. And I remember, that mentality that you have to grow, you have to scale, that being a small business is looked down upon, it's frowned upon. And I remember sitting there, having that mentality myself. Nobody can out hustle me. That was my mentality. And I worked like crazy with my last tech business. And I worked a lot of hours and made a lot of sacrifices that, looking back, I regret. But the point came for me, and kind of was the wake-up call prior to selling my MSP, was I was sitting in the same business conference, and this business leader was on the stage talking about somebody that he was mentoring. And this was somebody that you would recognize the name, and I'm not going to do any bashing here on the show. But it was interesting, the comment that he made. He said he was mentoring somebody who had a business idea. His wife of 25 years had some, she was having struggles with it because he was making all of these sacrifices for their family. And I remember sitting there, and I remember his advice. His advice to this entrepreneur was, find another wife. And that's when I hit the brakes on that culture. And I realized that's not the way that I was brought up. That's not the values that I had. And by hanging around with people who fed that, I became a version of myself that I hated. I became a version of myself, that I wasn't proud of. And that's when I decided 6 years ago this year is when I decided to reboot my entire life. I sold my business, and now I'm doing something that I'm completely passionate about, which is helping other people learn from the mistakes that I made. And that to me is really I want to share with you kind of my story, my epiphanies, the things that, looking back, if I had told my younger self, these are the things that I would tell myself. And that's what I want to share with you today. Is anybody, else, do you regularly attend business conferences and this is the mantra? Do you see it on social media? I know I'm not the only one, but please share that in the comments too. If this is the culture that you see constantly presented before us as entrepreneurs. I'm always curious to see what other people have to say. This isn't de facto standard, what I'm going to share with you today. This is just my personal story on the things that I learned. Again, looking back, if I were to tell myself these things, I probably could have saved myself a few headaches. So I'm going to take a drink and we'll get rolling here. The first thing that I would tell myself if I went back 20, 30 years, that it wouldn't be this. It would be this. Trying to emulate a millionaire is not a business. You can't build your business trying to be like somebody else. And yes, going back to it, we can learn things from our business leaders. We can learn things from people that have come ahead of us, that are larger than us, that are doing things differently, that, we can learn some things. But trying to build your business around trying to be a millionaire is that's not what you're looking for. Making money in business shouldn't be a career. And I say that with experience. And it is the result, making money is the result of being a good business, providing a good service, whatever it is. But if that's your primary goal, I can assure you it's going to bleed through. I can see it. I see it on social media. I can pick up on somebody who's all about the money pretty quickly. And I know, especially in the MSP industry, that there are people out there that every time you turn around, everything that they contribute or everything they share always has a sales pitch associated with it. And that just ruins it for me. And looking back when I was, the trap of simply wanting to be rich the next thing you know, you're sitting in a hotel conference room being told, this is the way to go to 7 figures. Give me your money and I'll show you how to get rich. And I remember that, that feeling that I had sitting there. That everything that I knew to be contrary to what I was as a person was what I was constantly feeding myself with, is feeding myself in that environment. Because it's interesting, I worked for a guy who owned a car dealership here in Columbus, and he always touted himself as being self-made. And a lot of people wanted to be like him. But when you dig further into the story of people like that who purport that lifestyle, and that it was interesting that he claimed to be self-made, but people that he was given the dealership, he inherited everything that he had, and yes, he took it and grew with it. But the way he approached life, the way he approached decisions is different from somebody who's created something from scratch. And the appreciation that you have for that level of commitment that it takes to go from scratch, to build something from nothing, is completely different than when somebody hands you a blank check and says, here, do something with it. And that always frustrates me, and we see that. People that are touting that, when you dig further into their stories, somebody who was given $1 million to start a business or, work in property management is going to be completely different success-wise than the rest of us who had to start from nothing. And I think it's, yes, there are true self-made people out there. And I'm not saying that there aren't. I'm challenging you in that, are you putting your money behind the right horse? Are you backing somebody who's truly genuine? And by all means, don't pattern your life around them, around trying to be a millionaire. That's what I would tell myself 30 years ago. And again, it could have saved me a ton of headache. And this was the other one that it took me a long time to really find this answer. You can't outwork the entire world. And, I grew up, I was bullied when I was younger, so I always had that chip on my shoulder. I came from a very poor family, and that was what was my work ethic, is what I was all about. My mantra was, no one can outwork me. Nobody is going to out-hustle me. But, that work ethic will catch up with you over time. It's not sustainable. Because there's always somebody out there who's willing to work a little bit harder than you, or somebody who's able to work or is willing to work more than you. And that work ethic is someone always being available, always working. That's the thing we celebrate in this society, and it's ruination of people's lives that we celebrate that. If somebody's not busy all the time, they're not always available, then they must be lazy. And that was the mantra that I had for a long time, that I was going to work. There was no one who was going to outwork me. And it's a terrible example of work ethic, because we as business owners, we as entrepreneurs set the example for the people that work for us. So if we're working 70, 80, 90 hours a week, what do you think are the expectation that we're setting for the people that work for us? And I think that's the danger right now with COVID, that productivity, people are trying to squeeze more out of the people working from home. That as we enter year number 2, that's what business owners, and I see it in talking to, in some of the forums that you belong to, that's what people are trying to do. Because it's that work ethic that people have. And yes, it's survival mode for business, and I get that. But you have to understand that there's people involved, and no one will ever work as much or be as dedicated to your business as you will. But that's what I would have told myself. I wish I would have told myself 10 years prior to selling my business, that your work ethic is different. It has to be based upon something different, that you can't outwork the entire world. The things that I would do, and I wish I had done sooner. Anybody agree with that so far? Please give me a thumbs up. Let me know. I know it's pretty quiet in the comments today. But, I got amped up about, this topic last week because I see it with young entrepreneurs that I coach. Social media, like I said, has really exacerbated that. And my son's, 17 going on 18. And this is what I'm trying to help him to see is to seek out people who are real. And too many times I found or was part of people or groups that encouraged you to do the wrong things, that encouraged you, that fed that desire for having, a fat bank account and to take advantage of everybody that you could, and everything was about sales. And I would have searched out people, and I'm glad I found people that, a group to belong to that gives you encouragement, honest feedback, and is 100% dedicated on just being a good person, being a good business. Because the world's full of know-it-alls. We can see them on social media, and it's very easy to spot them. And I think that's interesting with 2020 has really brought that out, that those people are much easier to spot, especially when they get on, platforms like LinkedIn. That those people who are just there as a transactional interaction on LinkedIn are very, very easy to spot. And it's very easy to spot those people that are constantly about sales pitch and are trying to close everybody and really don't care about the people that are on there. And I guarantee you know or have interacted with people just like that. Because we talked about this on the show. I do a lot of LinkedIn coaching. How many of you actually have encountered somebody today or this week that you connect with on LinkedIn and immediately get a sales pitch? Put that in the comments. I guarantee. How many have you had this week? That's what I would really be curious. What are the true numbers on, that somebody's seeing? And I did a podcast yesterday with Dan Tomaszewski, and that's what he gets about 50 a day. He said, people trying to sell him something, and he talked about that, how frustrating that really is. But like I said, it makes those people who are on there having conversations much more visible. And I think that's what people are starving for on this platform. And that's what I wanted to dedicate this show to doing, was being honest and giving people honest feedback of what it's really like to run a business, what it's like to be an entrepreneur, and the mistakes that you made. We learn from mistakes. And I've made a lot. I've made a ton of mistakes in life. But that's what it's about, is learning from those mistakes and learning what not to do. And then better yet, helping somebody else. Helping somebody else not make those exact same mistakes that you did. Last thing I would tell myself is around work ethic. And your work ethic is about being a good person. Not how much activity or productivity that you can put out, or how many, it's not about that. It's not about outworking everybody else. And that's what I would have told myself a long time ago. Yes, you can work hard. And again, I'm a workaholic, and I love to work. I love the satisfaction of doing a good job. I love building things from scratch. And that's why I sold my last company and started this one. I was itching to do something different and to be more and to do more. And that's really, the epiphany that I had after selling that business was that. So Eric said, I have friends who have inherited everything. Some make it on their own and they know they're lucky. Some take it for their own. That is their right, but don't see or feel the struggle. We've all been there. We know people like that. That tout that they did this great thing, and they had a leg up on a lot of us. And so thanks for sharing that, Eric. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that they're bad people. What I'm saying is you can't pattern your life around things that they say or do, because they may be approaching that from a completely different place than the rest of us. And, thanks, Eric. inheriting is complicated, filling those shoes, and yes, it is. And especially if you've inherited a business. And I think that's the challenge, is taking that and making it better and doing something better with it. And that's the thing that, for this particular business owner, this guy I used to work with, this is the thing that drove me nuts about it, because he was all about just taking out of everything. And I was working for him in sales at the time, doing sales and marketing. And everything that he did was about squeezing every single penny that he could, or not paying people. And that's the challenge that I have, that when people like that get up and say, hey, do this if you want to hit 7 figures, I don't want to hear it, because you're not living on the same planet as the rest of us. And everything that he did was about money and the status and ego. And, quite frankly, those people drive me crazy. And I know we all know people like that. And the decision we have is to, if we're paying the money, is to stop paying the money. Stop feeding the gurus out there who tell us what our life should look like. If you're not being benefited by that, if it is contrary to what you feel and you believe as a person, then I think, yes, you have the right to challenge that. You have the right to do something different. And that's an interesting thing that I've seen this year, is the people that have stood out, the people that have stopped spending money with certain people, especially in the IT industry, that they're very challenged by that. And they take offense to that somebody would have the audacity to have to decide to take their money someplace else because they did not believe in what that person had to offer anymore. And I've seen some really nasty posts on LinkedIn and Facebook from CEOs of companies in the IT industry, tearing into people, and it's downheartening because how many people feed on that. But again, I digress. Going back to work ethic, my mantra now, is 40 hours a week is enough. And I think right now, certain people are cutting back to 4-day work weeks. So it's about, it's not about productivity. We talked about it last week. It's about efficiency. It's helping people be efficient. And you will not ever be able to outwork everybody on the globe. But we all can be a good person. And if that's the mindset that we have for our approach to work ethic, you'd be surprised how many people gravitate and are drawn to people like that. People that are real, that are good people, and that everything's not about the dollar. And, trying to outwork everybody else is not how you lead a calm business. And that's really what I teach business owners to learn how to do. And again, so many things that cause us stress and anxiety, and things that drive us crazy as business owners are things because of philosophies that we've been taught. Because of business ideals from the 80s that quite frankly are no longer applicable. And they're very, we're self-serving, and that's not what people want. And that's an interesting thing right now, is that people are starving for that, something different. So if you're a business owner, you're a brand, that's what people want. They want to see the people behind the logo, the people behind the companies. So if you're on social media, you're here on LinkedIn and use this platform regularly, that's what I challenge people to do. Take more time to have conversations instead of just posting things about you or your company. And take that dedicated time to have conversations with other business owners that may or may not ever be your clients. But it's about building those personal relationships and being a human being first. And people will see that, and people will gravitate towards that. Hopefully this provided a kind of a light into background for me, decisions that I've made, and what is the one thing that if you're listening, what's the one thing that you would take away from today's episode? So if you're listening on this on the replay, please put that in the comments too. I do watch all of the comments for, a long time after these broadcasts go up and after they've ended. So please comment. If you've liked the things that we've talked about today, give me a thumbs up. If you hated them, if you want to challenge me, that's what the point of this show is to do, is to start discussion and to challenge notions. So, like I said, let me know in the comments, what is the number one thing that you take away from today's episode, from my mistakes. And that's what I want to do. Be able to share the things that, the mistakes that I made, so that people don't have to go through them, and that we can have a calm business, that we can have a business that we're happy about, that we can have a life that we're happy about. That's what I'm 100% dedicated to doing, is to helping people achieve that. So again, if you have comments, if there's things that you want to share, if you enjoyed this broadcast, please let me know. If there's things that you want to talk about, if you think that, if you want us to go back to the old format, I've been messing with formats here for the last month or so, since the beginning of the year, just trying to keep things fresh and to keep things more upbeat. And again, I get on these tears because I see so many people being torn up, eaten up by by guilt and by frustrations. And there's too much negativity out there, especially with what's going on right now. And that's what I want to do, is to be able to have a ray of life, or light, and to make people laugh, to educate people, and to really challenge, again, how we do things, how we think about things. So thank you again, those of you who are still hanging out with me on the live. Give me a thumbs up, let me know that you're still here. I'm going to flip screens here. But I appreciate everybody who tunes in every week. I appreciate those of you who are sharing your earbuds with me on the podcast. I appreciate those that tune in every week, like Robert, like Eric. So thank you guys so much. Again, you guys are why I do what I do. That's why we do this show. So a lot of people have reached out too. Robert, hope you're enjoying your sweatshirt. Robert wanted a hoodie. So those of you who want to support this show, who want to support the Do What Is Necessary movement, if you want to grab a t-shirt, a hoodie, stickers, anything, we've got orangenomad.com/merch. So thank you, Eric, for being out. Hopefully we're able to keep in touch this year. And I really appreciate you tuning in every week and being a repeat guest. I really, really appreciate that. So if you want to support our program here, you want to support the things that we're doing too, I've had a lot of people reach out, and I'm excited that the beginning of this month we started a community around this movement of Do What Is Necessary. And I'm excited about this because this has actually come from people requesting, people who have watched the show, people who have seen this broadcast over the last year and want to learn how to live a calm life, build a calm business, how to network and be around people that are positive, encouraging other entrepreneurs, and to be able to help each other do what is necessary. So we've started Team Orange, and it is like I said, it's an online community where we have regular trainings. So you'll get all kinds of stuff. We have, courses, we have templates, we have, again, the community of other entrepreneurs that you can network with. We're going to be starting some business-led groups. We're going to have other business leaders coming in to teach on all kinds of topics that are pertinent to helping you start, build, and run a business. And that's what really the focus is really going to be amped up, is helping people put 2020 behind us, move forward, and especially with helping them build a business and building a life that is meaningful and successful and fulfilling for them. Thank you so much again for tuning in. That's going to wrap this week's show. I got too many things going on the screen here. But that's going to wrap this week's show, and I appreciate, like I said, I'm humbled by those of you who tune in every week. It's Drake White night in my house. I'm repping my Barn Gangster t-shirt. So if you don't know who Drake White is, check out Drake White Music. I love this guy. I've been watching him. I think he hit 50 weeks of doing live streaming, him and his band on Wednesday evenings. So if you like a very diverse group of music, check out Drake White Music. But again, it's Drake White night in my house. So I'm excited about tonight. So thanks again for tuning in. My name is Andrew Moon. I will see you on the next episode. Have yourself a great week. Stay humble and kind. And always, always, always do what is necessary.